Furnished by Karl Gerber and Employment Lawyers Group.
It's been a hard day's night.
Talk Radio 790 KABC. I'm Karl Gerber. This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show, heard every Sunday at this time. We're here in the studio live. This segment is sponsored by Zodi's Discount Stores. Come in now for all the latest back-to-school fashions. Two-toned OP shorts for $24. All OP, La Tigre, and Hang 10 shirts discounted for limited time only. For girls and young women, we have in a 7-year-old recovered lot of Ditto jeans on sale now for $7.99 for a limited time only. Greater savings apply for bell-bottom styles, all two-tone colored halter tops, perfect for cruise nights, $2.99. Cassette tapes with Footloose soundtrack, only $3.99. Born in the USA, $5.99, and Purple Rain, $5.99. Visit our North Hollywood store on Sherman Way, only a few miles from the Laurel Plaza Mall. Yes, you too can sponsor this show. The first caller will win a 30-second sponsorship for the low price of only $100, never to be auctioned that cheap again. Call now and win this 30-second spot on the next episode of Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer. Call at 800-222-5222. That will prove we're really in the station tonight. 800-222-5222 for a $100 30-second sponsorship. 800-222-5222. Now, with all that said, congratulations if you have the day off. I don't. I've got a guest in studio, and I've got to get down to business here. I'm looking over at her. Ma'am, you resemble a certain blondish woman who was on the show a few episodes back. What's the deal?
Oh, I always thought Cindy D was so pretty.
Pretty, pretty. Now that's the one song Depeche Mode said they're ashamed of.
Cindy D is a phone sex operator. She's also a dame on Remus Helms Cosplay Ranch. I don't dress like her.
What does Cindy D have to do with this? I was referring to your striking resemblance to the very woman Remus Helms blames for the death of his daughter, Anita Orchid Helms, who died of boredom at XIO 415.
Starlight? We're not the same people.
Then what? Are you identical twins?
No, I don't even know if we are related.
Before we continue this conversation, I'm going to need a genetics test for you and one for Starlight. In the name of Remus Helms, if you are the same person, I cannot possibly let you proceed on this show.
I have papers. Hold on. I have papers. Hold on.
If you want to see papers, come to my office. Better yet, come to one of my storage warehouses. Employment law is document intensive. Wage and hour cases. Woo-wee. Boxes of time records. 5 to 10 boxes of papers per file. Have some fun finding a scanner that won't break. Enough electronic file storage space, let alone staff to scan it, and then try to find it electronically or get it in court.
I always carry my genetic marker tests.
Wise thinking. Let me see. I might start requiring genetic marker tests before I talk to a client. It sure would help in knowing something about them. I haven't dated in some time, but maybe you have, young lady, and I'm wondering if daters exchange genetic test marker results on the first date, or is that more of a, second date formality?
I wouldn't know. I am married. I agreed to meet my husband sight unseen. His management of the most important sanitary napkin database in history was so super duper marvelous. He wooed me off my earth and fire. Those are the legs of a star. I knew he was the man for me.
Where is this going on so many levels?
Are you satisfied with my genetic marker tests?
I haven't even read them. A good lawyer listens to people.
Well, there is a problem.
Yeah, I met a manager of a sanitary napkin database last week. I didn't know there was more than one database for sanitary napkins. I guess there's a whole industry managing sanitary napkins.
Sanitary napkin database management jobs are the jobs of the future. 60.18 million women used sanitary protection in the United States in 2011. And in 2012, U.S. women spent an average of $588 a year on sanitary top brand napkins, whereas the average yearly cost of a top brand, like say tampons for instance, is $1,776 a year. Consumption can be anywhere from 3 a day to 6 a day, depending on comfort, flow, budget, of course. 20 per cycle.
I don't mean to cut you off. These statistics are obviously mind-boggling. I had no idea the future was in the field of sanitary napkin database.
My husband's work in the field. There are only a few in the world on his level.
This is extremely impressive, but on another level, since you have not thanked me a single time yet, I'm convinced that you're not Starlight, despite the fact you look like identical twins.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't even know if we are related.
I suppose you could like a little bit like the con artist.
Watch it!
Sorry, wannabe candle designer?
I know my sisters had a lot to do with the plot for Hanita to pretend to be a candle designer when her talent was chemically recreating a scent that simulated the human sexual experience.
Yeah, you admit you are a Starlight sister.
Your brother admitted he was Moonshine, and I know your brother was also Lemur Jr. because Lemur Jr. cracked chaos. That proves you are also Captain Lemur Eyes.
A few people listening to this show have any idea what you're talking about. These events transpired circa 1982 to 1987 by the latest. Although they did shape the future of the internet before there was an internet, they are not of any consequence here.
But are you really the same person as Lemur Jr.? Moonshine? I read some literary analysis on that.
By the same token, are you really the same person as Starlight? In the days before the webcam or enough baud to transmit a graphic image online, anybody could be anybody.
I'm not sure. I am Star Bright, not Starlight.
She told us her sister was Star Bright.
But I might not even be her sister.
Who are you?
That is a good question.
And why are you here tonight?
I'm not sure about that either.
What? But you are Starlight's sister.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. I was an early product of IVF.
Oh, yeah. In law school, they come up with these super confusing hypotheticals of, which there is no legal precedent yet. And in 1991, our hypothetical was to see if we would qualify for moot court based upon an IVF problem.
Yes, I was created around that time. I am the early product of IVF.
I recall that Starlight was conceived at the Radio Shack by the Ice Chalet in the Laurel Plaza Mall. How can one forget that fact? Does your mother happen to be the skater or the former Radio Shack employee?
That's what we don't know. My mother's thing and my father's thing ended up in a lab somewhere during the Northridge earthquake. Everything got mixed up, see?
This is totally improbable. Probably not medically possible. Who told you this, Kennard?
I am not sure.
Yeah, I'm on to this. Starlight apologizes all the time, and you aren't sure of a lot of things. There's similar looks here, similar voices, similar annoying traits, but different annoying traits that cannot be stopped. So by the preponderance of the evidence, you must be sisters.
Would you say clear and convincing evidence proves we are sisters? I am not asking for a beyond reasonable doubt standard, just the highest civil standard. The criminal standard gives me the creeps.
Look here, Starbright, if you're just here to go back and forth and say weird things to me, I'm I'm not sure this is the time or the place for that. We're supposed to be talking about employment law.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I thought this was the time and place to go back and forth discussing weird things.
I guess as long as our audience stays attentive. So this is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber. I'm a real lawyer. If you have a real workplace problem, call me at the office at 877-525-0700. Once again, 877-525-0700 for a real case about being fired, sexually harassed, losing wages. That's 877-525-0700. When we come back, I really would like to know what this star bright character is doing here. You know, her sister was on an earlier show. I think the title is Blondishness and Homelessness.
I wish I might have the wish I wish tonight.
Since 1993, the Employment Lawyers Group has been a consistent force in fighting for the rights of California employees. They've represented thousands of employees in cases in which they've lost their jobs, been sexually harassed, discriminated against at work, or owed wages individually or as a group such as a class action. The Employment Lawyers Group has maintained a high win rate and a serious record before the California courts. Please call 877-525-0700 for an experienced work lawyer. That's 877-525-0700. They have call takers standing by. Online, research the firm at worklawyerca.com. They have offices throughout Southern California. If you hire the Employment Lawyers Group, your legal problem becomes theirs to solve.
Curb appeal. You know it when you see it. And with the Home Depot, you can absolutely get it. Boost your curb appeal with the best brands at the best prices. From new garage doors to colorful flowers. From exterior lights to a new coat of paint. From inspiration to installation. You can get everything you need to boost your curb appeal on a budget. Like select special order windows and doors. Now 15% off. The Home Depot. More saving. More doing. Offer valid through September 12th. U.S. only. See store for details.
If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, please call this toll-free number right now. 800-390-9528. That's 800-390-9528. By calling your addiction team, you're taking the first steps to recovery. The help you need could be one call away. 800-390-9528. Make the free call now. 800-390-9528. Your addiction team is a third-party advertiser for various treatment centers and placement networks. Individual results will vary. Visit youraddictionteam.com/terms for more information.
At Fidelity, we believe nothing should come between you and your money. So we're introducing zero account fees with zero minimums to open an account. All because we want you to invest with zero trade-offs. Visit fidelity.com/value to learn more. Zero account minimums and zero account fees apply to retail brokerage accounts only. Expenses charged by investments such as funds and managed accounts and for commissions, interest charges, or other expenses for transactions may still apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, member NYSE, SIPC.
Curb appeal. You know it when you see it. And with the Home Depot, you can absolutely get it. Boost your curb appeal with the best brands at the best prices. From new garage doors to colorful flowers. From exterior lights to a new coat of paint. From inspiration to installation. You can get everything you need to boost your curb appeal on a budget. Like select special order windows and doors. Now 15% off. The Home Depot. More saving. More doing. Offer valid through September 12th. U.S. only. See store for details.
It's been a hard day's night.
Yeah, this is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show on Talk Radio 790 KABC. And for those of you that didn't know, Zodi's went out of business about 32 years ago. So that commercial wasn't real. The show is, I really am a lawyer. I really do represent employees. But, you know, the show ranks best on YouTube as like comedy radio and lawyer radio. So that's just how we do it. I got to get back to this guest. Well, young lady, what's the deal here? Why are you here?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Isn't this supposed to be a comedy radio show? I mean, at least that's what YouTube thinks, right?
I'm not sure.
How come you never asked me my name? You always ask people their names.
I'm not in the mood for trying to find out why you have such a ridiculous name.
Shtick?
Yes, this is supposed to be lawyer comedy radio.
I know that. I'm saying my last name.
Your last name is Shtick? You're pushing a ring in my face that has a metal dorsal on top of a diamond.
Besides being in the upper echelon worldwide of the sanitary napkin database managers, he spends his weekends sanding tiny metal dorsals.
Your husband is Chap. I never knew his last name, and now I know why.
Chap and I got married as soon as I came back from Afghanistan.
I won't ask what you were doing in Afghanistan, probably selling Afghan rugs through teen mothers or something noble.
I was in the United States Army, Chief Inventory Clerk of Operation SN.
Operation SN?
Yes, Operation SN.
You know, I'm not too sure why you were here. Chap Shtick said he moved on to a much better job. His case at the Labor Commission was over with.
My apartment.
Sorry. I'm not a landlord-tenant lawyer.
I am a tenant too, but I am the apartment manager.
I ran a storage unit in Van Nuys and...
I'm not sure. I think I am not too sure.
Then don't raise your hand.
You don't like my ring? Chap does the best dorsals in the county.
This is supposed to be a show about employment law. Do you have an employment problem? Not like you aren't happy with the color of the sofa in your living room, and sometimes tenants come in and see that you have a teal-colored dorsal-shaped sofa?
How did you know?
I can see inside your living room from here.
The company I work for isn't too happy I got married.
Oh, marital status discrimination?
You can call it whatever you want, but my husband is bi.
Multiple causes of action here.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Now that you've phrased it like that, yes, there are multiple reasons for action.
Cause of action is distinct legal theory like marital status discrimination versus sexual orientation discrimination.
First, they told me Chap would have to help in the management because it was company policy to give a couple of rent credit for two.
That's an interesting question. Can a company force a new spouse to be part of the management team?
Chap doesn't have time to manage the apartment. He manages one of the most important databases in the world.
How much of a rent credit did you get before you were married?
That's the good thing about the job. You know how expensive apartments are on the west side. I am getting a 2-bedroom in the Palms for only $2,000 a month.
A rent credit is how much money the apartment manager or the apartment management company claims are giving you towards the regular price of rent to reduce it so you pay less than fair market value.
My employer gives me a whole $1,000 rent credit every month. $1,000 whole dollars.
The total rent credit an employer can charge depends on whether it is a credit for one or two people. $1,000 a month exceeds that which is allowed in Wage Order 5.
Order? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, wage orders are authorities, not like the FBI, legal authorities. They describe certain rights for workers, often in respect to wages.
What if they thought Chap was doing apartment manager work, but he wasn't really because he needs time for his hobbies on the weekends?
Well, $919.04 is the most an apartment can charge a couple as a rent credit. That assumes that they have 26 employees. $621.29, I just happen to know, is the most that employer can charge just one person for a rent credit if they have all those employees.
You mean to tell me Mildew Management is taking advantage of me?
I'm not sure why this is such a surprise. Presumably you came here to talk about legal problems at work and not your fantasy notion. You were conceived during the Northridge earthquake when two IVF tubes got together.
I'm not too sure.
I'm not going to pop another balloon and say I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but I think the test tube story is inaccurate.
Chap said when you popped the balloon last week and said that he wasn't sure he could ever look at a metal dorsal the same again.
Sorry, but I see no correlation.
Chap usually stands out on the balcony, but we wanted to be closer. I was reading the sanitary, the monthly industry rag. That's an old word for the industry. We were sitting on our teal couch. After about 2 hours of me reading and Chap sanding, the doorbell rang. The tenant in 2B, her front door wouldn't shut. At first I figured it bowed out, the regular constant drip, but she said she left her Doberman Pinscher home. You might have heard he mauled a baby the last time she brought him to yoga. Anyway, he clawed the door jamb. When Chap got up off the couch to get me my carpentry tools, metal dust trailed off of him for about 30 feet. He apologized and said he would clean the carpet. Normally, I steam clean the hall like once a week.
And this is very fact-intensive.
I'm not too sure. When I got back from assessing the door jamb damage and told the tenant I could fix it for $2,000, I see Chap has the carpet up in our living room. The whole carpet pad was covered in black mold.
That is disgusting.
That's nothing. We always just paint over the mold, but it keeps coming back through the paint. What if I do a backstretch against the wall? Do you think it will ruin my glow? Like, come through me?
Actually, I'm not sure. Strange things do tend to happen to characters on this particular show, but on a serious note, it sounds like this job is exposing you to an unhealthy and unsafe job environment.
Oh, yeah. The back end of the laundry room caved in about a month ago.
I'm not going to ask where you do your laundry now.
Everybody in the building has been using their kitchen sinks. That's why we've had so many plumbing backups lately. But in Chap's line of work, a man at his level, his shirts must be stark white. So it's easier to make them sanitary in the sink than in the washing machine. There was always so much mold in there.
Is the laundry room on the top floor?
The ground level.
Doesn't that mean some other part of the building sank?
Sure.
Moving right along. The other issue with rent credit is it can exceed 2/3 the value of the fair market value of the rent. If you live in a mold-infested building with a collapsed corner, fair market value couldn't possibly be $3,000 a month, even if it was both you and Chap working and rent credit. $1,000 a month, that's more than the $919.04 allowed by law for a couple. There is definitely an illegal rent credit going on here.
How do we get rid of the illegal rent credit here? I'm not too sure. Oh, the apartment managers want to start a classy action.
You finally gave me a purpose.
A lot of the managers are getting an even better deal than me.
How?
My employer is giving them $2,000 a month in rent credits.
So, Bright, you're missing the point. There's a maximum rent credit that an employer can charge.
I'm not too sure.
I am.
What about the noises?
What about them?
Because the building is sinking, like you're saying. We hear a lot of creaks when we are relaxing. Chap's sanding his metal dorsals, and I'm trying to meditate.
There might be some workers' compensation issues here with the mold exposure. I once had a case with a dialysis clinic in the 310. It was flooded. Quite a few workers were stricken by the mold. There were 8 or 12 workers' compensation claims.
Can I be a classy representative?
I'm not sure how classy you would be, but there are requirements for class actions and class representatives.
Oh, I'm sure I would be a good one.
Were you actually in the military? I presume you don't have a felony if you're a military person.
Oh, that's why I meditate. I'm in recovery now.
You had an issue with substance abuse?
I'm suffering from PTSD.
That's terrible. I'm sorry to hear that. Is that why you're so unsure?
I am star bright. I've always had a bright outlook.
I presume you've also had to wear shades because your future was bright. It wasn't that funny.
Oh, I'm just thinking about the sound guy. I can't see him back there, but I keep thinking he's pressing all those buttons and adjusting the levers.
Not really finding that a bit funny either. Okay, folks, this is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show on Talk Radio 790 KABC. I'm Karl Gerber. I'm a real lawyer that deals with class actions for rent credits and other employment problems. If you want to call me, staff actually has the day off tomorrow because it's Labor Day. I don't have the day off. I'll be at the office working. You can call and harass me. 877-525-0700. Not to harass me, but hopefully if you have a case for being fired from your job, class actions for wages, sexual harassment, something interesting, 877-525-0700. Once again, 877-525-0700. And I hope you're all enjoying your time off. If you have it from work, if you don't have it from work, sorry about that. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
Star I see tonight, I wish I may, I wish I might have the wish I wish tonight. Starlight.
Talk Radio 790, KABC News Update. I'm Steve Cumming. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo says his state is filing a lawsuit against President Trump and the federal government for failing to provide proper assistance to Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria.
They basically abandoned Puerto Rico. They didn't provide the federal help, the federal assistance, the federal care that they should have provided.
Figures released last week indicate the death toll in Puerto Rico from Hurricane Maria was nearly 3,000, significantly higher than the original estimate of 64. Hearings are approaching for Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, and Democrats want more documentation on his background. Correspondent Boris Sanchez reports the White House says it's already shared a lot on him.
Deputy Press Secretary Raj Shah putting out a statement this weekend about the release of these documents, saying that there have not been more transparency for other Supreme Court nominees, that the 400,000 or so pages that have already been released are substantial.
KABC SoCal weather for Labor Day, sunny with highs from around 70 at the beaches to around 80 inland. More news coming up and continuous coverage on KABC.com. I'm Steve Cumming, Talk Radio 790, KABC News.
Since 1993, the Employment Lawyers Group has been a results-oriented law firm whose goal is to get the client what they deserve. They've represented thousands of California employees who've lost their jobs, been sexually harassed, subjected to employment discrimination, or were owed wages on an individualized or group basis, such as a class action. They have a high rate of success. There are few situations involving employment law that they have not confronted. At the forefront of employee rights, they're often the first employee law firm to confront a new legal issue. For an experienced employment lawyer, call 877-525-0700. That's 877-525-0700. They have call takers standing by. Online, read more about the firm at employeelawca.com. They have offices throughout Southern California. Make your work problem theirs to solve.
Freak yeah, Jimmy John's.
Freak yeah, what if I just needed one sandwich delivered?
Freak yeah, we can do that.
What about 100 sandwiches?
Freak yeah, we can do that.
What about 24 sandwiches?
Freak yeah, we can do that.
67 sandwiches?
Freak yeah, we can do that.
You know, 67's a prime number.
Freak yeah, a whole number greater than one whose only factors are one in itself, I know.
Great. I'll take one turkey tom, please.
Freak yeah, one turkey tom, on the way. Freaky fresh, freaky fast, Jimmy John's, freak yeah.
What happened? You used to go hours without visiting the bathroom. Now it seems like you're constantly getting up to pee. Listen, the makers of Super Beta Prostate are introducing a new wonder pill, Super Beta Prostate P3 Advanced, with 3 key ingredients that are great for your prostate. To celebrate, your first 30-day supply is free. Pay shipping and handling. Get P3 Advanced free. Call 1-800-215-9360. 1-800-215-9360. 1-800-215-9360.
Run like a girl. The race is on. Ready, set, go.
Run Like a Girl is a new podcast from Westwood One, devoted to shining a bright light on the stories of the unprecedented number of women running for office. We want to see more women on both sides of the aisle in the halls of power. Listen for free at Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, runlikeagirlpodcast.com, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Run like a girl.
Bad news for President Trump. Half of Americans want him impeached.
And bad news for blondes.
Plus, Costco's finally had it with a customer who was abusing their incredibly generous return policy.
On the next McIntyre of the Morning, get smart 5 to 10 right here on Talk Radio 790 KABC.
News.
I like the way that they report the news.
Talk.
They're honest critics.
Evolve.
It's pretty thought-provoking and funny as hell.
790 KABC.
It's been a hard day, isn't it?
Yeah! Talk Radio 790 KABC, the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber, and I'm not really demented. I actually do practice law in 4 states. Hey, remember last week we were voting for the favorite characters on this show? Well, this is kind of bad to the actors and actresses maybe, because the person that won was Brandon, my almost 10-year-old son. And by the way, you can stream this on YouTube if you go to Karl Gerber channel. A lot of people look at the show there. You might want to catch up on some of these older episodes so you learn about employment law, but also because Star Bright is Starlight's sister. Starlight was on the show as a wannabe candle designer who had a scheme with Hanita Orchid Helms to take this job for all kinds of money and defraud the company when one of them was not really a candle designer and one of them was making sense. And it's a long story, but Hanita ran into some financial problems afterwards, went to work for the most boring company in the world, XIO 415, and she actually died of workplace boredom, and Remus Helms is not happy with Starlight. So I was a little reluctant once this Star Bright woman showed up here to even talk to her, because I'm a big fan of Remus Helms. But anyways, back to what's happening, because I think she's some kind of an apartment manager. She does construction at the apartment. She's got an illegal rent credit. She happens to be married to Chap, who was on last week, who didn't tell us his last name, maybe because it's Shtick. How do you like to be named? Chap Shtick. Kind of weird. All right, so back to this whole thing here, Star Bright. What's going on?
So, do I have a classy action?
I'd say it's more of the middle class action. Not totally without class, but not quite a classy action, especially if you're going to be the class representative. Yeah, class actions require numerous people with the same injury, same wrong, based upon the same set of facts that caused the wrong.
Not too sure, but I think we've all been wronged at one time or another. I was doing some really good finished carpentry work for a tenant, and I'm all done with the mullions, and I'm working on the stanchion bar. I've got all the curves down, and bam! My compressor goes out. That was so
the wrongs I'm referring to. Take, for example, your situation. I don't mean the test tubes or the self-doubt. Rather, the situation that would exist would be the class members were all illegally charged more for rent credit than Wage Order 5 allowed. Everyone experienced the same violation of the same statute, and it's very easy to identify the class members because their records, someone can cross-check to see if they were charged more or less than the legal limits of rent credits.
Oh, yeah. I saw you in court last week on that FPI management case, telling the judge why you thought the rent credits were supposed to be illegal.
There are quite strict metal detectors in the old federal court building where class actions are now heard in downtown Los Angeles. I'm surprised you made it through the metal detectors.
I'm not sure. I didn't know that you knew Chap, and I digest the little bitty dorsals.
Do the two of you have, pica towards metalophobia?
I wouldn't say we have a metal eating fetish. It's just that we were both in the sanitary napkin industry. I am on hiatus due to my present job, but Chap's all the way in. You learn a lot about iron loss when you're in the business.
Oh, now this all makes sense. The metal dorsals you eat must be made out of iron.
I'm not too sure. I think they are made out of aluminum. The shiny ones are stainless steel. Once, Chap sold a big one for $700. It was part of his steel beam I welded in the hall ceiling.
Did you learn all these construction skills in the Army?
I'm not too sure.
I know you get $1,000 a month rec credit, but whatever pay are you getting for doing all these skilled tasks like welding steel beams and finishing small wooden pieces and windows?
I'm not sure. You see, I used to get free laundry, but not anymore because of the whole situation in the laundry room.
Are you actually being paid any cash for steam cleaning the hallway carpets, sistering in steel beams, etc.?
I'm not too sure. They pay me by check.
What's your compensation besides the excess and illegal rent credit? It would help if you brought a check into the recording studio so I could see.
Am I supposed to pay you for recording in here?
No, that's an idea. No, all the voice actresses are paid by me. Real people are not.
Oh, am I not real?
Can we focus on the paycheck, your pay, money you're not being paid, not just credits to do a mold load, an illegal rent credit?
Because I'm getting disability benefits, they said they can only pay me $1,200 a month on the check. But I get another $800 a month in quarters. But now that the laundry room is closed, I'm not too sure I'll get the $800 a month.
Yeah, employees of private companies have to be paid more than once a month.
I'm not sure. I thought one big check for $1,200 a month was better than one check for $400 and another for $700.
Yeah, I guess I'd rather get $1,200 than $1,100 too, but whatever the regular wages are, they can't just be paid once a month. And of course, wages can't be paid in cash. That's a pay stub violation right there. No itemization of the gross or net on the $800. No indication of an hourly rate either.
I'm not sure. I don't have an hourly rate.
Yes, I understand you just work many hours and you're unpaid. You're ripped off by your employer, or exposed to highly unsafe and unhealthful working conditions.
Well, sometimes I get help.
Are some of these potential class members people who work on the apartment with you?
This is something I am sure about. Amalia took out most of the asbestos so we could get the beam in.
Is Amalia an employee?
I'm not too sure. She's a very tiny girl. Maybe like 4'10". She had to use an 8-foot ladder to reach the low ceiling in the hallway. You know what? It might have been a higher ceiling when I started the job. It took a long time because whenever a tenant wanted to get through the hallway, she had to stop. We were doing it during rush hour.
Ooh, asbestos being removed while tenants are rushing through the hallway on their way to work?
Oh, that's nothing. I've seen a lot flying around in Afghanistan.
Well, that's very sad, but asbestos particles can also kill people.
I'm not too sure.
I am.
What I mean was when you're out in the Registan, the nights are very beautiful. All of my extended family twinkles bright in the desert sky, only to be interrupted by UFOs, usually around 2 or 3 in the morning, but sometimes closer to 4 a.m.
Yeah, that is scary. Enemy planes that could strike at any minute.
I've met a lot of people who've been abducted.
Oh, can we do a class action for the people who are abducted?
I'm not sure. Maybe, but can all of the apartment managers sue?
Yeah, I'm willing to represent apartment managers who were charged an illegal rent credit, but not apartment managers who are abducted by aliens. I'm not an expert on space law, and I fear we could end up in a intergalactical venue that I'm not admitted to practice before.
Wow, I could get you permission to practice an intergalactic arena. I'm sure the class of the apartment managers would be even bigger.
Let's stick with the apartment managers working for your company in California. The whole rent credit law, that's a state law. I know they think they're paying you $1,000 a month extra, but they only get a credit for what the law allows. Given the situation, I'm wondering if you're even paid minimum wage for all the work you do.
I am sure. I am not paid minimum wage for every hour I work.
Have you calculated how many hours you work in a week?
At least 100.
How many units are in this building?
70 legal units and 7 illegal units. Do I not get paid for the work I do for the illegal units?
I thought you were the brother sister.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't think so. It's light beer versus genuine draft.
Analogies here really don't help in these stories here. They might help with, closing arguments, but I'm not getting this one. You're both similar size and skin color.
Can the managers of the apartment in Santa Clarita join the suit?
Yeah, any apartment manager who had a rent credit more than wage hour 5 permits could be part of the class if they work for the same company.
I'm not sure. What class am I supposed to take?
The class are those similarly situated people who are class members, the people the class action's about.
There was a list of all the apartment managers in the laundry room. Do you think it would be safe to go in there?
No, that's too bad. The list would tell us how many managers there are.
I actually remember everybody's name and numbers on the list.
We're going to have to find out how in the world this woman remembers that when we come back. Call for a real lawyer about employment problems. Me, 877-525-0700. That's 877-525-0700. 877-525-0700. I'll only be weird if it gets you something, I promise.
I wish tonight.
The Employment Lawyers Group is a results-driven law firm whose goal is to get the right result for the client. They have represented employees with a high rate of success since 1993 throughout the state of California. They're only paid and if they are able to collect money from the employer, so there's not any upfront fees or costs in order to hire them. They have represented thousands of employees who've been terminated from their jobs, sexually harassed, subjected to employment discrimination, or are owed wages in an individualized or group basis such as a class action. Call 877-525-0700. That's 877-525-0700. They have operators standing by. They can also be reached at employeelawca.com. They have offices throughout Southern California. Hire them and make your workplace problem theirs to solve.
Lou Manfredini here, and this House Smarts Minute is sponsored by CLR, Calcium Lime and Rust Remover. Get your day back with powerful, efficient cleaners. The typical person can be found inside of their home or office space at least 90% of their time. Therefore, it's imperative that harmful pollutants are removed regularly. You can properly remove mold, allergen, dust mites, and light stains from your carpets using a steamer. The heat will kill dust mites and other organic bugs that you don't want in your carpets. More information at housesmartstv.com. And now this. While you're going about your day-to-day life, making dinner, doing laundry, getting the kids to school, something's happening in the dark recesses of your house. Mold and mildew are growing, but you can fight back with CLR Mold and Mildew Stain Remover. It's tough on mold and mildew stains all around the house, and it works without bleach or harsh fumes. It even carries the EPA's Safer Choice seal. CLR Mold and Mildew Stain Remover, making the world a little cleaner.
We're all looking for that special someone who really gets us, who understands all of our moods and quirks, who knows that deep down, we love singing along to late 2000s girl power anthems as much as early 90s slow jams. On Spotify, that's exactly what you get. Playlists that get you because they're made just for you. And the more you listen, the better we get at helping you discover music you'll love. So download the free app today and find your perfect playlist. Listen now for free on Spotify.
Curb appeal. You know it when you see it. And with the Home Depot, you can absolutely get it. Boost your curb appeal with the best brands at the best prices. From new garage doors to colorful flowers. From exterior lights to a new coat of paint. From inspiration to installation. You can get everything you need to boost your curb appeal on a budget. Like select special order windows and doors. Now 15% off. The Home Depot. More saving. More doing. Offer valid through September 12th. U.S. only. See store for details.
It's been a hard day's night.
Yeah, it's been a hard day and a hard night. I'm Karl Gerber. This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. You're still listening to Talk Radio 790 KABC, and I wish that this Mildew Management place would get a hold of that product we heard about on the commercials. They could sure use it. Hey, Starbright, I've got a concern. If you're able to, remember the whole class list in your head, it might be kind of small, too small to be a class action.
I remember all 71 of the names of the current apartment managers. They all receive rent credits. How far can we go back?
4 years.
Oh, that's easy.
For you to recall all the names 4 years back, I'm shocked.
I don't know who worked there 4 years ago. I started less than 2 years ago. I just realized how easy it is to talk without moving my tongue.
Oh, brother. Class actions only need one class representative, presumably with a working tongue. I don't need everyone in the class to join, and I don't have to know who they are by name when we start the case.
Wouldn't it be more classy if you met everyone?
I don't get involved in class actions unless there are, at least a few people willing to be plaintiffs and potential class representatives. Otherwise, if the company's shady, they might try to settle with one person, but even more important, several people are evidence the practice didn't just happen to one person who can talk without moving her tongue.
I've got enough class to represent the class.
Not to change the subject, but was your employer aware that you worked 100 hours a week?
I'm not sure. Maybe not? Either working or having sex with my husband or reading about our industry stops me from having PTSD symptoms.
A court might consider what the employer's reasonable expectations were for the job. If the reasonable expectation was 30 hours a week and you spent a lot more because you were obsessive, that could be a factor, but then again, employers can't be unjustly enriched by the fruits of their employees' unpaid labor.
They know I spend 15 hours a week on paperwork. The cleaning takes about 10 hours, but with the laundry room down, a little less. The repairs are unpredictable, but there's usually some asbestos to remove, a steel beam to replace, lots of slab breaks on the lower level because all the sewage pipes are embedded in concrete about 3 feet down. Lately, all the plumbing backups with the tenants doing their laundry in the kitchen sinks. I imagine Mildew Management expects I'm spending 60 hours a week making repairs.
Given the number of hours you work, this sounds like a sub-minimum wage job. You're also owed overtime, maybe double time, because every manager's experience as to how long they work is different. I don't know if the minimum wage and overtime would be class-wide issues. It might also depend on the size of the buildings managed.
Mildew Rentals, a.k.a. Mildew Management, specializes in renting large apartment complexes built in the late 50s through late 70s when they have toxic mold or mildew problems. But in order for them to get involved in projects, the buildings have to be in excess of 50 units. Some are 150 units. That's a lot for one manager.
I didn't know there was an industry like this.
Mildew Rentals has been around for over 30 years.
This sounds like a good case. The class representative, of course, has to be bright.
I am.
IQ-wise, usually shouldn't have felonies, will be fair to the class, put their own interests aside. If you have an individual issue for marital status discrimination, that could be a problem.
They have been insinuating that now I am married, I shouldn't do this job anymore.
Well, if they haven't fired you, it might be hard to sue. I need to know exactly what it is your claim for discrimination is based upon. The fact you're married?
It might be because they think Chap is bi.
Associational discrimination.
I'm not sure.
2 California Code of Regulations, Section 11022, is entitled Association. It states it's unlawful for an employer or ever covered entity to deny employment benefits, to harass, intimidate, all that awful stuff because of that applicant or employee's, association with individuals who are in a category in the act, like sexual orientation. That's a category. So if an employer fired an employee because they're married to a bisexual spouse, that could be a violation of the Fair Employment and Housing Act. But alternatively, firing somebody merely because they're married is also illegal.
Would me being a class representative add a lot more class to the family?
I'm not sure. I recall your sister was living in her car. She was obviously conceived in a retail environment, but that was some time ago.
Now that I'm Miss Shtick, I feel like I am really doing a lot for my bloodline.
I was wondering if you have an older or younger sister, but since you were hatched January 17th, 1994, the day of our Northridge earthquake, and Starlight was conceived near the end of the ice skating rink at Laurel Plaza, I'm presuming she's your older sister.
Actually, I'm not sure. I always thought I was the first star.
Starlight said she was 26. That was only a couple weeks ago on this show.
And I'm 24, but I'm certain that I'm the older sister.
I'm going to recommend someone else be the class representative. Your adequacy might be challenged.
Adequacy? Not Chap. Chap said he's put his same-sex urges on hold.
Well, I hope he's happy that way, but adequacy of the class representative doesn't have anything to do with, Remus Helms' claim to fame.
I've given a lot of thought to whether Chap agreed to marry me just so he could meet Remus Helms. With Starlight being such good friends with his daughter Hanita Orchid Helms,
He didn't mention his marriage last week when he was on the show.
I'm just thinking that because you can't really do too much to make his labor commission win, a bigger one of us has to file a lawsuit. Or we could be living in a mold-infested apartment the rest of our lives.
Lawsuits have to be brought for legitimate reasons without the intention of large profits. You're not a very large woman, but it sounds like you have a lot of physical strength and building construction skills there. I'm sure you could do better than $1,200 a month in cash, sometimes $800 a month in quarters, and $1,000 in a rent credit, of which $300 or more is illegal. And you're also living in a toxic building where you're working 100 hours a week.
Yeah, I'm thinking about trying to get my union card. Maybe in the steel workers. I could go out for plumbing. Finish carpentry would be raiding Chap's bandwagon. After all, his metal dorsal work is a true craft.
Is there an organization or a club for metal dorsal crafters?
I'm not sure.
Sort of off subject, but I'm wondering if you were invited to Hanita's funeral.
I was, but not Starlight. But she's not dead. I saw her at the Dollar Tree on Jefferson. Actually, not too far from here, buying plastic orchids.
I was informed that Hanita died of boredom.
I'm not sure. Yeah, actually, I think she did die of boredom.
Okay, let me know when I can meet some of the apartment managers. I think I'd like to find a different class representative here than this star bright woman who thinks she's the older sister, but she's younger than her other sister, and she thinks she was conceived when IVF tubes exploded during the Northridge earthquake. I mean, seriously, class representative, there's some scrutiny there. It can't be somebody who has absurd and strange notions, and it's got to be someone who's going to adequately represent the class and has some, I don't want to say it, but intelligence there. I'm not sure I'd want a class representative related to Starlight either. It's a bit much. So class actions are important, and that allows a group of people to sue. Yes, a group, perhaps with only one class representative, but hopefully with a couple people in the case, because if it's just one person, he might have had a unique experience like Star Bright, where she's being abducted from aliens and things like that. So ideally, you want to get a couple plaintiffs in the case who suffered the same kind of problem. Usually it's a wage practice, and it's not something that's different for every person. If it's different for every person, it's not a class action. It's got to be something you can find out that systematically happened, not necessarily through testimony, oftentimes through pay stubs. If people are not told what their hourly rate is on the pay stubs, that oftentimes is a 226 class action. I seem to have a lot of those. So if you've got wage and hour problems, sexual harassment, wrongful termination, maybe even a work injury, you should call my office on Tuesday. Staff has off tomorrow. I don't. It's 877-525-0700. 877-525-0700. If you have a real employment problem where your job no longer exists, call 877-525-0700, and we will actually speak to you about your case. And I might make it kind of ridiculous and absurd when I'm taking some depositions of the managers and people at the company, so they sound like a bunch of idiots. I'll make them sound like Starlight or Starbright or one of these other characters on the show. And be sure that's going to happen in the closing argument of your case if it goes to trial. We have pretty heavy trial calendar coming up this fall from October 15th straight through mid-November. I think I'll be doing 3. I got someone else doing another pregnancy discrimination case on October 1st. So it's busy, guys. And now we're going to be going back to school. We're going to have a back to school episode about rights for that next week, because there are a lot of rights that people have who are parents if their child has to be picked up from school. So tune in next week for that. You've been listening to Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. See you next Sunday from 7 to 8. Be sure to listen online at workplacelawyer.org or YouTube. You might have streamed this episode. See you guys next week. Have a good day off if you have it. If not, sorry for the workplace abuse tomorrow.
Starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. I wish I may.
This show furnished by Karl Gerber and Employment Lawyers.